Hello, I'm Raj Chengappa of India Today, and I'm joined by the man of the moment, Mr. Piyush Goyal, the Union Minister for Commerce and Industry. Congratulations, Piyush ji, on achieving two things. One, the mother of all deals, which is with the European Union, and now experts are saying you've signed the father of all deals with the US in some senses. If you take a look, let's start with the US deal itself. And it's an interim trade agreement as it's been described. Now, does this signal a structural shift in the way India's trade policy is? And what, in your view, fundamentally changes after this deal?
Thank you very much, Raj, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you and at your channel. I think ever since COVID, when Honorable Prime Minister gave the clarion call of a self-reliant India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and laid out his vision for India as a developed nation, as a prosperous nation by 2047 in his 15th August 2022 address to the nation. India has reoriented its very approach to the economy, has started preparing itself to work at the global stage, finding our position at the high table, rapidly growing the economy. We've been the fastest growing large economy for the last 4 years in a row. And I assure you, for the next 2 decades at least, we will continue to be the fastest growing large economy.
So where does exports fit into this, the whole trade bit?
No country in the world has become a developed nation without a significant international engagement. Both exports and imports are important for a nation. But you export what you are best at, where you have a competitive advantage over your neighbors or your competitors, or a comparative national advantage between different nations. At the same time, you import what is good for your country. You import, in India's case, for example, you import certain ICT products which are very important for our service exports.
Right.
If we had not developed our digital infrastructure the way we have, and at the cost at which it is available today in India, we couldn't have been exporting nearly $400 billion of service exports in the country, half of which is from the technology side.
And if you take these two deals that you've signed, one is the 30 trillion deal, which is with the US economy that you've signed, the other 20 trillion with the EU, that's close to 50 trillion, and if you add UK and you add all that, you're close to 60 trillion in the last couple of years. What does this fundamentally change in the way we do with trade?
I think it shows that India has emerged out of the shadows. Today, India is a very self-confident country. It engages with the developed nations from a position of strength. Ultimately, free trade agreements are about the future. It's not the past. And as India lays out the roadmap to a $30 trillion economy, the potential that we are engaged with, the delta of opportunity from a $4 trillion to a $30 trillion is a huge, unparalleled opportunity. Mankind has never seen an opportunity where all the stars are aligned. We have decisive leadership, Prime Minister Narendra Modi leading from the front, willing to take risks, taking bold reform decisions, transforming the mindset of the nation. We have the demographic dividend, young India, less than 30 years of age, expected to be young for the next 30 years. As we grow to a $30 trillion economy, I call it the power of 30, 30, 30. And a democracy where the rule of law prevails. A country with 1.4 billion people, 140 crore Indians who are aspirational, today connected on their smartphone to what's happening in the rest of the world, therefore desiring all the good things of life, creating a huge demand that is unparalleled. In every respect, India stands at the threshold of a rapid growth story And when we engage with partners like the European Union, UK, Switzerland, the United States of America, Australia, New Zealand, the Gulf countries, we are in a way preparing ourselves to engage with the best in terms of quality. We are preparing ourselves to leverage the strengths of our youth's talent, their skills. We are preparing our women folk to start contributing to the formal economy much greater than what they were doing in earlier years. In effect, we are making inclusive growth along with sustainability our mantra to take us through the Amrit Kal.
Now, very well put. One of the things that we noticed in the last 3-4 years has been the whole trend towards protectionism. Right? There has been protective barriers, tariff barriers being put across. Suddenly, India seems to have abandoned that. We were also protectionists in the past. What has changed that makes India confident that it can open its doors to other countries and also protect our industry?
Raj, there's a fundamental mistake that the Congress and the UPA government under Prime Minister Shri Manmohan Singh ji did. They negotiated free trade deals or open engagements or open borders with countries who are largely our competitors, with developing nations, less developed nations. They didn't have the courage of conviction to be able to talk to the developed world, other than Japan and Korea. And sadly, both those deals are so badly negotiated that our exports to these two geographies have just not grown in the 15 years we had the FTA. Whereas every one of the deals that Honorable Prime Minister has done in the last 3.5 years, right from Mauritius to Australia, New Zealand, Oman and UAE, United States, European Union, UK, the four-nation EFTA bloc with Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Norway and Iceland. Every one of the free trade agreements that Prime Minister Modi has inked are with economies that complement the India growth story. We are not in competition. We truly help each other. We truly provide opportunities for their investments to work in India and capture world markets, leveraging the innovation and technologies that they have, and providing jobs to Indians, providing opportunities to our young men and women. Whereas we get the advantage of getting products into the country which we need in our development cycle. And my approach, Raj, is very simple. Suppose the UPA had opened up, let's say, computers to Japan and Korea. Now that makes no sense to me not to allow computers to come in from Europe or from America, whose per capita income is either equal to or more than Japan and Korea.
Right.
If Japan and Korea are providing these computers to India, we might as well get them from other countries who also produce them. The more the competition, the better for India. And then ultimately some of them will realize that why not make it in India? It's much more attractive. So they'll start bringing investments to India, they'll start initially assembling in India, and then gradually grow the supply chains, which will provide jobs and opportunities for Indians.
This is where I wanted to come in, because if you see the first term of the Prime Minister, and also to some extent the second term, of course, second term being overshadowed by COVID, the feeling was that India was pushing for Swadeshi. In that sense, it was being translated into protectionism. And did you face resistance from within, leave alone outside in the public and others, within your own party, within your own, the Sangh Parivar, as to, while negotiating these deals, we are giving away too much? Was there any such issue that happened?
I will tell you why I had no issue whatsoever. And I say this with full confidence, because you wouldn't have heard one criticism, one negative edit in the first 8 deals that we have done. US happened only this morning. And I assure you they will not be able to pick one hole in this, because we have not compromised on any of our national interests in any of the deals that we've done. For example, dairy has not been opened in any FTA, any country. And by the way, Switzerland, the European Union, UK, Australia, New Zealand, they've never done a free trade deal which didn't have dairy. We were the first. But we were confident that we will be able to explain to them that we cannot compromise on our small animal husbandry or small farmers who may have 3 or 4 livestock. They can't compete with the organized dairy of the developed world. So we come across in our negotiations with an honest and plain speaking approach. Countries today trust Prime Minister Narendra Modi to be giving them a fair deal, and they also recognize that India as a trusted partner will only help their economies in the future. So our idea is to capture the low-hanging fruits. Don't make perfect the enemy of the good. Look for commonalities. I respect their sensitivities. They respect our sensitivities. For example, the US does not allow tobacco to come into their country. They have very high duties, import duties on tobacco. Now, should I be fighting? I'm a big exporter of tobacco products. But why should I be fighting? I have other markets to look up to. And similarly, they have many markets for their produce on things like soya and corn, rice, wheat, several of these millets, sugar, GM products, which I cannot bring into India. It will hurt our Indian farmers. So I've always been guided by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to respect others' sensitivities and ensure that they respect our sensitivities. And believe me, it makes the job of negotiation so much simpler because we trust each other.
And that, you mentioned agriculture products, and some of that seems to have happened in the US deal.
Also.
Yes. and therefore, the concern is that we have compromised on that front. Some of these items, whether you're looking at sorghum, soya bean, whatever it is, has there been any...
Soya bean, we have not compromised. Soya bean cannot come.
Oil in some sense.
Soya bean oil, we are one of the largest importers in the world.
Yeah, so if you take a look at these products, have we compromised in any way?
Not at all. Raj, we have been importing soya bean oil from the time of the Congress and government.
Right.
2004.
And why did we...
importing large quantities, and we've only given a quota in soya bean oil. Right. But we've not opened it for soya bean.
Right.
The soya bean meal is not allowed to be imported. It's not opened up.
Right.
So wherever there are sensitivities, there's no opening up.
So you're saying on agriculture we have made no compromises?
Absolutely not. It's a win-win. There are areas where we need to import.
The fruits, these things...
See, there are fruits which we import.
Right.
We import from America even today.
But indirectly or something like that?
No, even directly.
Right.
Directly we are importing several fruits from America. So giving a concession there is a zero-sum game. It only helps to get better quality apples than the one we get from Turkey, for example, which in any case many Indians don't want to eat.
Right.
So I think our approach is where India needs a certain thing, we welcome it, whether it's agriculture, whether it's industrial goods, whether it's ICT, whether it's technology goods. So where I gave a quota on soybean oil, I'm actually doing a service for the people, the consumers, because now there's more options.
Not on maize, no, they were looking for...
No, absolutely no compromise on maize.
Dairy.
Absolutely no compromise on dairy. Absolutely no compromise on GM products. Absolutely no compromise on cereals like rice and wheat. Absolutely no compromise on sugar. Absolutely no compromise on a variety of products which are often found sensitive in the Indian context. Today I have laid out a whole set of products. I'll share with you also.
Fine, you went through that in the press conference. But I want to...
It's absolutely a win-win for India.
This is something that there has already been, in some senses, some sort of criticism about, and I'm going to mention this to you, that India has agreed to eliminate or reduce MFN's tariffs on all US industrial goods, while the US has not reduced MFN tariffs at only and have left only reciprocal tariffs. Why was India willing to make permanent tariff concessions in exchange for what Washington itself describes as conditional and reversible review?
Two things. First of all, we have not removed tariffs on all industrial goods to zero. some are calibrated over a period of time, some there are tariff rate quotas, and where we have no sensitivity, where we need it, like NVIDIA chips or ICT products in AI, in quantum computing, I need those to develop my economy. So it's a very calibrated, well thought approach, item to item. Point
Right.
one. Point two, the reciprocal tariffs are for real. The whole world has acknowledged that. The whole world has negotiated against reciprocal tariffs. So have we. Yet, we have agreed with the United States that should the reciprocal tariffs be taken off for everybody, then we would have an opportunity to recalibrate our concessions also. Or we would have an opportunity to get further concessions from the US. So it's not as if India has removed the MFN tariffs against a reciprocal tariff which is temporary. It is for real. If there is a change in reciprocal tariffs, there will be a corresponding change in our opening up. So it's a very well understood and a very balanced relationship that we have created. And I must say the American negotiators are very fair. It was a pleasure negotiating with America. And I did not face any difficulty in terms of ensuring fairness on any issue whatsoever.
What changed actually? Because for almost 6 months there was rancor between us. There was a lot of other issues. What finally turned the corner for us to, on New Year's, 2026, to move so rapidly and sign?
No, there never was rancor. We have the best of relations with all my counterparts and colleagues over there. We are working with the US on so many fronts: strategic fronts, critical minerals, defense partnership, technology partnership, on AI. So we have a very multifaceted, multi-dimensional relationship. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi are the best of friends. There has never been a rancor in this relationship.
But there was a feeling that it had been already ready, but for some reason it kept getting postponed.
These
Was
are
there any
feelings that were there in the market, but may not necessarily be true.
Okay, let's take a look at another aspect, which is our commitment to buy $500 billion worth of goods from the US. Our current trade between India and US is about $212 billion. We take services and goods together. How are you planning to make this up in terms of $500 billion? There is a time frame that you mentioned, 5 years. But what are we going to do this? And would we be penalized if we don't sort of meet up to these standards?
See, if you see the joint statement also, we intend to purchase $500 billion in the next 5 years. And we've done a very careful analysis. The products that we have found United States of America most competitive in, where they have a competitive advantage with other nations, even today, as we speak, we buy $300 billion, or we import $300 billion of those products from around the world today. And these are products which are growing very rapidly. For example, on ICT products, the growth of import, or electronic products, growth of import and imports of these products in some years is as high as 20%. Our estimate is that in the next 5 years, we will need to import about $2 trillion of energy products, that's crude oil, LPG, LNG, precious metals, ICT products used in AI, in quantum computing, the semiconductors, the chips of NVIDIA, for example, coking coal or thermal coal that we have to import for shortages in coking coal reserves in India. We don't have much coking coal in India. We import from Indonesia, from other countries. Now, I see no reason why in that $2 trillion import pie, Indian importers won't have an advantage if they import from the US. Aircraft alone, aeroplanes, spare parts and engines of aircraft alone, we will require anywhere between $80 and $90 billion in the next 5 years, could even cross $100 billion. Just aircraft alone.
That's Boeing jets and others. That
Boeing, GE engines,
right,
and the spare parts associated with that. Only with that ecosystem of aviation, nearly $100 billion, give or take $10, $15 billion. Now, in that situation, my approach is very simple. For these set of products which I have to buy in any case, the more the merrier. I would like there to be a competition amongst suppliers in the world so that India gets the best deal. And that is good for Indian consumers, that's good for the Indian economy, and will spur economic growth in India. So I think it's very simple, elementary logic, and American goods are very high quality. We'll welcome them in India. I think it's a great partnership where we get an opportunity to sell labor-oriented products or products made by our farmers and fishermen in large volumes and quantities and value, and they get to sell to India more and more planes, more and more engines, more and more ICD products and high-tech products, which America is great at. So that's exactly what Prime Minister Modi said, that when you make America great, when you make India great, the mega plus mega is equal to mega.
But take a look at what you said in terms of aircraft, and you mentioned GE engines. In the past, America would never recognize our defense deals with them as part of trade. They would always say our deficit is $40 billion, even if we had bought some equipment from them. Does this also include now defense equipment in terms of the numbers that we would calculate for
we
trade?
We haven't got down to that level of specifics, but I can assure you that there's unlimited potential on both sides. I would urge both our Indian exporters and our friends in America who are in the export business of all of these products to take this opportunity, grab this opportunity of this wonderful relation between our leaders, of the wonderful relation between our people. After all, the 4.5 million or 5 million Indians living in America are a living bridge between the two nations.
Which needs to come. Were there any discussion on mobility, given the fact that we've had tough times with Donald Trump coming back on the H-1B visa and
We've
also the
had
price?
no tough time at all. Look, every nation can provide its own rules or laws.
Right.
And if they would like to restrict any H-1B visa holders, I don't think that's going to impact our relationship or the potential trade. On the contrary, Raj, if you ask me personally, it'll be good for India. And let me explain why.
Yeah.
Today we are running almost 1,800.
Given the fact that you studied in the US as well.
I've not studied in the US.
But you did a
I've
big
done
course at
many
Harvard.
courses. I've done a number of courses, but I've not studied in the US. I'm a plain, simple little chartered accountant. Studied in Mumbai,
Hardly.
did my articles in a very,
modest.
very humble, small firm.
Right.
Did my law from Government Law College in Mumbai.
No, let's not
I'm a
discuss.
Mumbai University boy.
Okay, done.
Pura
And you also now
Swadeshi-
elected from Mumbai.
Pura Swadeshi maal hai.
But yeah, you were getting to this point about why you think it's fine.
See, it's like this. India has nearly 1,800 plus global capability centers working in India. Now, this is really the learning and an outcome of the COVID days. COVID taught us so many things could be done from home. I mean, many of our interviews now are done on the screen. Your panels are all sitting at home and running panels. In the good old days, you would call me to Noida to do a panel or to your office quite far away. Now it's hardly required.
So you're saying?
Same way in businesses, people suddenly realize there's so much that can be done off-site. You don't have to be sitting in a office in Rockefeller Building in New York or in an office building in Tokyo to be doing maybe large number of functions, including design, including innovation, including R&D, back office functions, the finance function, admin function. So many things that could be done from home during COVID can be done offshore. So instead of hiring people, sending them to the United States, paying them top dollar salaries of the US level, if they come to India and they set up global capability centers in India, they'll get very highly talented people. They'll have more options. They can get as many people as they want. They can get them at maybe 1/5 the cost that it would be over there. It's good for those companies, helps them become more efficient. We are a country which really, we produce 2.4 million STEM graduates every year, the largest in the world. So we are a country full of youth, talent, very hardworking and good skills. So when they come and give jobs to Indians in India, those people are in their home, with their families, they have their cultural identity intact, their family value systems intact. They pay taxes in India. They invest their savings in India. they consume and create demand in India. It gives a big boost to the real estate industry because commercial complexes are required for these GCCs to come up. When these people work here, the whole ecosystem, hotels, dhabas, restaurants, the entire ecosystem grows.
Right.
Investments come to India, and the icing on the cake, we earn more foreign exchange.
Fair enough.
So in every respect, it's far better than a nominal remittance that a person going and living abroad would send to.
No, so would it be correct to say in EU we had mobility agreements that were there, visa free. In this, we have kept that out and about to negotiate later, or that is...
Even in the EU,
right.
I'm attracting GCCs, that's the highest priority. I'm attracting people to come to India and set up base in India for manufacturing, for design, for innovation, for other services, back office work. I'm inviting them to come to India. That's my first preference. More in India, the more economy of India will benefit. Right. But at the same time, there are many functions which require people to be there. So you will need a plumber if you have to sort out a plumbing.
Right. But you've agreed with EU. That is a good
But that is
deal.
also happening in the US.
That is also
for
part of this.
high quality
Right.
people. The US is already on record to say they want Indian talent. And by the way, they've done a lot of exemptions to the restrictions on H-1B, which they originally brought in.
Right.
A number of things are being exempted every few
But
days.
it didn't become part of this
This
initial
is a
trading.
pure, simple trade deal.
Okay. One of the things that the elephant in the room, let's deal with it, was the agreement that we would discontinue buying Russian oil, and therefore the penalty tariff that they'd imposed on 25% is going from whatever the White House
That tariff has gone already.
The White House executive has come.
out. But it's a subject that I do not deal with. I would not be aware. You will have to talk to
So
them.
you are saying that in terms of oil, let's talk.
It is handled by the foreign ministry.
But we have taken care, from your understanding, we have taken care of that aspect. What is your sense of that?
I don't know. It's the foreign ministry who handles that subject. They've handled it very admirably, and they've continued to, from time to time, regularly brief the people about the progress in that respect.
2 or 3 quick things I want. One is labor-intensive industries, textiles, leather. What have you done in the US deal? How will they benefit? Because this is something that we look at very, very close. And just tell us very quickly what...
Raj, the benefit for our textile sector, our home decor, our apparel sector, upholstery, sports shoes, leather shoes, fishermen, our handicrafts, our handlooms, our toys. It's just phenomenal benefit because with 18% reciprocal tariff, and by the way, in many cases, we've even been able to get 0 reciprocal tariff. The competitive edge over all our competitors is huge. We are the lowest amongst our competing nations. China is at 35%. So I think we are on a sweet spot. It's now up to our exporters to really make the best of this great opportunity.
Let's move to auto, which is again a big issue that was there. We have done a good deal with EU in terms of quotas. Is that being replicated in the US deal?
Somewhat on similar lines. I wouldn't have the exact details here. Somewhat on similar lines. But by the way, American automobiles will not be competitive if imported into India as it is. Even the Europeans recognize that what they are looking for is only access for some, let's say, small quantities, which they use for test marketing their models to decide and determine what's the Indian palate like, what works in India. Ultimately, they also know with their manufacturing costs in Europe or in America, America is also twice Europe in terms of per capita income and the costs of labor.
That's true.
So it's even for them, what they would need really is quotas or ability to bring material in. When the volumes are small, they can't manufacture in India, which we welcome. And when the volumes become big or the model is successful, they would also like to come and manufacture in India either through contract manufacturers or on their own or through collaborations, all of which we welcome.
Pharmaceuticals. So far, America hadn't put tariffs on that because they needed their... Will that continue? What is the great benefit?
Yes, we have institutionalized that in the statement, joint statement itself. It is mentioned that our pharmaceuticals from India will continue to be exempt and enjoy zero duty.
Okay, and I just had a quick clarification on the non-tariff things that we've agreed to lower and do it. Where does that stand? Are we in some senses allowing America to determine what is the kind of non-tariff tariffs?
It's a win-win for us. We want to see India as a modern, as a nation which engages with the world on equal terms. We would like our consumers, 1.4 billion Indians, also to enjoy the same high quality that the world is enjoying. So you must have heard Prime Minister Modi from day one, from 14 has been talking of zero effect, zero defect, Z. You heard him in Mann Ki Baat just last 2 weeks back on Sunday. He started with India should become a quality conscious country. In Parliament, replying to the motion of thanks to the President's address, he spoke about quality. We are very conscious that India should develop brand India. We should be recognized the world over as a high quality country, both in goods and services. And I think that will be our USP in the years to come.
Final question, in terms of jobs. One of the things is, how does the common man benefit out of these trade deals? What is the kind of potential and which areas you think employment will come in a big way and entrepreneurship?
I think Indians stand to benefit hugely in almost every sector of the economy. Whether it's labor-oriented sectors, I've listed them out: textiles, home apparel, shoes, leather goods, sportswear, fishermen, our seafood exports, farmers for all the agri-products where we've got access now at lower reciprocal tariff, our skilled workers, our handicrafts, our handlooms. It'll give a big thrust to Make in India and therefore create a lot of job opportunities, a lot of investment opportunities. Our startups will get an open market to work with India. They'll be able to attract investments because the stability and predictability or clarity that a FTA provides or a bilateral trade agreement will provide will encourage investments also to flow to India. Now they know that everything is good, two countries are continuing to power on, we can invest and enjoy the fruits of the fastest growing.
You're not putting a number to it, 20 million, 30 million jobs or anything like that.
Well, numbers is up to the people. Right. I think if our investors, if our exporters grab this opportunity, the sky is the limit. It's unlimited potential.
This is
we
what
can actually get millions of jobs, if not 20 million, maybe more than that also. It's up to us. We have to come out of our comfort zone. We have to grab global opportunities, which Prime Minister Modi is opening through his very astute management of the Indian economy and our international engagements, the partnerships, the friendships that he's personally created across the world, which has earned India the acronym of a trusted partner.
Since you mentioned this, 1991 was a moment of reform, economic reform domestically. Would you describe all these trade deals as the next big economic reform? Where would you put this? And in 10 years' time, how do you see this develop?
I would say that Prime Minister Modi, particularly in the last 6 months, has powered on a reform express which is going at breakneck speed. And the free trade agreements and our international engagements are an integral and important part of his reform and transform agenda. Because if we don't reform, if we don't make it easier to do business, if we don't make the lives of the common man easy, if we don't decriminalize these onerous provisions of law, if we don't reduce the process, procedure and compliance burden, we will not be able to become a developed nation by 2047. This is now the collective commitment of 140 crore Indians who are all contributing to make India a developed nation. Viksit Bharat 2047 is non-negotiable. This is our dream. It is what we are going to achieve. It is something that each one of us has now taken it as our mission in life. And this vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi really encourages all of us to go all the way, to work hard, to put in our best and make India a great country.
Piyush Goyal, Minister for Commerce and Industry, thank you very much for very passionate insights into what's happening. Thank you so much.